November 2008, 10 terrorists are walking through Mumbai with AK-47s. For 60 hours, they turned India's financial capital into a war zone. But when the smoke cleared, India realized something even more terrifying than the attack itself. We had no damn clue who was actually living in our country. 600 million Indians, that's twice the population of America, had no identity proof. Nothing. No birth certificate, no passport, no driver's license. They were ghosts in their own nation. So we did what any reasonable country would do. We started a civil war inside our own government. Let's meet the gladiators. Corner 1. Palaniappan Chidambaram, Harvard MBA, former finance minister, now India's security czar. Favorite word? Surveillance. His solution to the identity crisis? Build a fortress, the National Population Register, NPR. Think of it as CIA and Census Bureau having a baby. Every resident would be verified against documents, cross-checked with police, and get a smart ID card with a chip. Sounds beautiful, except... Let's go to corner 2. Nandan Nilekani, Infosys co-founder, worth $1.7 billion. Just quit to join the government with a $1 salary. Favorite word? Scale. The madman looked at India's identity crisis and saw something completely different. He saw this. 40% of India's welfare budget, food, fuel, fertilizer, was being stolen by ghosts. Literal fictional people with fake IDs, claiming real money. 70,000 crores every year. That's $10 billion vanishing into thin air. His solution? Don't build a fortress. Build Facebook for the government. The first meeting between these two? Explosive. Chidambaram, you want to give IDs without verifying citizenship? Are you insane? Nilekani, you want to spend 10 years verifying papers that don't even exist? Are you insane? Chidambaram, private companies collecting biometrics? That's a national security disaster. Nilekani, government departments taking 50 years to issue IDs? That's the real disaster. The war escalated fast. To understand why these men were fighting, you need to understand the insane mathematics of what Nilekani was proposing. India, 1.2 billion people in 2009. Traditional ID system, fill a paper form, submit documents which 600 million people simply didn't have. Then police verification, that takes 6 months. Manual data entry, physical card printing, postal delivery. Time per person, 6 to 12 months. Total time for India, 50,000 to 100,000 years. We'd finish issuing IDs sometime around the year 100,000 AD. Nilekani's solution, screw the paperwork, go biometric. Now this gets truly insane. The deduplication problem. When you enroll someone biometrically, you can't just save their data. You have to check if they already exist in the system. 10 fingerprints, 2 iris scans, and a photograph. Checked against every single person already enrolled. By the time you reach 1.2 billion people, you are doing 1.44 trillion biometric comparisons. This, of course, isn't Excel spreadsheet territory. This is supercomputer shit. This starts the algorithmic wars. Nilekani hired the best minds from IITs, Google, Microsoft Research, even DARPA contractors. They built something called ABIS, Automated Biometric Identification System. Your biometrics come in, they get converted into mathematical templates instead of images, and the system runs them against the entire database using parallel processing across thousands of servers. If no match is found in 7 seconds, you're unique. The false positive rate was 0.057%. Out of 1 billion people, only 570,000 might slip through. In government terms, that's basically as close to perfection as you can get. Next step, the enrollment blitzkrieg. Nilekani didn't just solve the math, he solved the logistics. 30,000 enrollment centers across the country, each with biometric devices and trained operators on a 3-day crash course. The result? Day 1, 10 people. Month 1, 100,000 people. Year 1, 10 million people. Year 5, 600 million people. Chidambaram's NPR still stuck in pilot phase in 2011. By 2012, Nilekani had won the war. But here's the plot twist. He wasn't building an ID card. He was building an entire operating system for the entire country. Let's start with layer 1, Aadhaar. Aadhaar wasn't a card, it was an API. Any app, any service could use it to verify identity. Get a response in under 900 milliseconds. Before this, you'd have to take a half day off, go to a bank, show 15 documents. But now you just put a finger on your phone and bam, you are done. Your identity is verified. Let's go to layer 2, the paperless DigiLocker. Every Indian generates 50 plus documents in their lifetime. Storing them is a nightmare. Verifying them, let's not even get there. DigiLocker is the government's Google Drive, but verified. Your degree directly pulled from a university database. Your driver's license straight from the RTO. No forgery possible. Because you're not storing copies, you are just accessing the originals. And now comes the layer 3, the cashless UPI. This is where shit got real. Remember traditional digital payments? 16-digit card number, enter CVV, wait for OTP, pray it works, and then pay a 2 to 5% transaction fee. UPI, enter phone number, enter PIN, done. Fee, 0. Bam. Results, 2016, UPI goes live. 2020, 2 billion payments a month. 2024, 12 billion payments a month. That's 400 million transactions every day. Visa and MasterCard, they watch this blockbuster like Netflix. Remember when I said Chidambaram lost the war? Well, he may not have been all that wrong. The breaches. Jan 2023, a hacker posts selling 815 million Aadhaar records. Price a mere $80,000. The government says impossible. Our biometric database is secure. The hacker, cool, here is a sample of 100,000 records with names, addresses and Aadhaar numbers. The UIDAI was right. The core biometric database wasn't breached. What we didn't understand, Aadhaar is used by 500,000 developers, 50,000 companies, 1,000 government departments. Each one stores Aadhaar data. Each one is a potential leak. The vault is secure, but there are 500,000 doors. Cut to March 2024, the Silicon fingerprint scam. Andhra Pradesh. Hackers drain 50 lakhs using fake fingerprints. Buy fingerprint molds from corrupt operators for 5,000. Create silicon replicas. Use them at micro ATMs. Withdraw money from their accounts. The most advanced biometric system on the planet, broken. Beaten by a piece of rubber that costs less than a cup of chai. Last, the mandatory voluntary system. The Supreme Court in 2018 says Aadhaar cannot be mandatory for services. The reality in 2025, can you get a SIM card, bank account, passport, driving license, marriage certificate, death certificate without using Aadhaar? Really? School admission, income tax filing, government job, a gas connection without Aadhaar? So let's not call it voluntary. Now let's talk about the second order effects that nobody looks at. India didn't just build for the 1.4 billion people and stop. That would be too easy. India looked at the rest of the world and said, you want this? We'll give it to you. 2023 G20 summit. Modi walks in with the biggest flex in Indian tech history. We built digital infrastructure for 1.4 billion people. And here is the blueprint. The product, DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure. And countries are lining up like it's Black Friday sale. Singapore built Pay Now on UPI's bones. Brazil launched Pix, UPI inspired, and it exploded. The Philippines is building Phil ID modeled on Aadhaar. Now think about what is actually happening here. When America exports tech, Facebook owns your social graph. Google owns your data. Apple owns your wallet. They extract value through eyeballs. When China exports tech, the government sees everything. WeChat controls everything and social credit decides everything. They extract value through control. When India exports tech, we hand over the source code, you build your own stack, you own your own data, and we extract value through consulting contracts, TCS, Infosys Wipro, technology, license, maintenance deals for decades. It's the East India Company but for code, and it might be the most amazing move India made in tech. Because the West isn't panicking that India built Aadhaar. They are panicking because the global South is choosing India over them. Why should China use Visa when they can build their own payment rails? Why should Bangladesh use Google Pay when UPI is literally free? Why would any developing country hand over their digital payment sovereignty to the Valley where India says, here, build it yourself? We are not competing on innovation here. We are competing on sovereignty. So let's summarize what happened in plain terms. In 2008, India was a country where 600 million people didn't exist on paper. No ID, no proof. No way to open a bank account, get a government subsidy, or prove they were alive. Half the country was invisible. One man said, verify everyone the old way. Documents, police checks, the works would have taken 100,000 years. Another man said, screw the paperwork. Scan their eyeballs. He built a system that could check 1.2 billion people's biometrics against each other in 7 seconds flat. And then he didn't stop. He turned that ID system into a payment system, that payment system into a document system, that document system into a consent system, layer after layer after layer, until India had something no country on earth had ever built, a single digital operating system that connects every citizen to a service. Today, 1.4 billion people are in this system. Zero fee payments running 400 million times a day. Welfare money hitting bank accounts directly. No middlemen, no ghosts, no theft. A farmer in Bihar can get a loan in 3 minutes that used to take 3 months. A woman in Rajasthan can prove her identity without owning a single piece of paper. This is not an app. This is not a startup. This is infrastructure. The kind of infrastructure that countries fight wars over. And India built it in 15 years. And now the world is copying it. But here's what keeps me up at night. The same system that pulled 300 million people out of welfare fraud logs every transaction that we make. The same system that gave a homeless woman an identity for the first time can erase her with one database flag. The same system that 50 countries want to copy is the most detailed surveillance architecture ever built, and it is built by a democracy. Chidambaram wanted security. Nilankani wanted efficiency. India got both, and the world got a blueprint. But the question is, a blueprint for what? Because once you are in the system, there is literally no logging out. Users, everyone. Privacy, 404, not found. Thank you for watching. So stories like this is why I love making videos. You start with one question and you end up understanding something fundamental about information and technology. So honest truth is I'm a geek and I love technology. I've been tinkering around with all my life. My latest project is a tool called Canvas, which helps go-to-market teams with handling their content, sales conversation, customer success, all within WhatsApp, Slack, or whatever tool you use. This is how we do our own content research and come up with all of these crazy scripts as well, just FYI. We are bootstrapped. This is how we love building, telling stories, making products, doing it our own way. If you like what we are doing, it'll mean the world to me if you can check out our website and see what we are doing, building. All right, see you next time.